Hi guys, I thought I'd take you from start to finish on doing some silk nails. Now, as you might be able to see, I've got a couple of nails here, one that needs a backfill, one that needs a total replacement, and one there I'm going to start from the beginning all over again. So, I've got everything I need in front of me. I've got my drill, so filing down, got some cotton wool pads. Now we're going to use those to take off the nail. My resin, and I use a hardening powder, a filler powder, adds strength to my nails. Buffing file, and my file. Now, this nail here is starting to lift on the side, so you can't really repair this, and you never rip them off. What you've got to do is actually take it all off and start all over again. Now, to do this, the easiest way to do this is to actually grab a cotton pad, fold it in half, put a good dollop of nail polish remover on it. Oop, not that much, mind you. Right, wrap that round your nail and grab a bit of foil and wrap the foil around it. Okay, and just leave it. Okay, it's going to take a good couple of minutes, 10 to 15, but that will actually get rid of that whole nail and you can start from scratch again. So we'll go back to the nails that the rest of the nails that we've got here. This one here hasn't got anything on it at all, so we need to start from the beginning. And this one here does need a backfill. So first thing I'm going to do is give them a file. You can do it with an ordinary file, you don't need one of these. Really this comes from just, it's a little bit easier. Hi, I'm back again. I'm just finishing off this nail. Now I'm using a nail file here. It's a sort of half moon file, and the reason I do like it is I like the square ends. I find they get very nicely down the side of my nail and at the ends, remembering you're not wanting to, you want to rough up your natural nail, but you don't want to take everything off it. So just, you're just trying to blend it in. As I said, you can do this with a nail drill, or as I'm doing here, just with an ordinary square nail. And you want to take out a good buffing of the top nail, okay, so that you end up looking like that. Now I've given this one a bit of a buff. Just want to make sure I get down the sides. So it doesn't have good cohesion on the sides, that's where it's going to lift. So you want to make sure that you do get the sides properly. I find a lot of people, that's where they make their mistake. They buff like this, buff the top, and yeah, it sticks in the middle of the nail, but it starts lifting at the edges because it hasn't really been filed properly to start off with, and it hasn't been, just roughed up enough to help the gel adhere. Okay. Now the other thing is too, I've got a bit of nail there. I took this nail off this morning so that I could show you a nail from beginning to end. Now, if you don't have any nail, you can actually extend the silk along past your natural nail. Okay, use a hardener if you're going to do that. Okay, and you can actually make, the silk will actually make the nail for you. So I'll just get that bit there, and we're going to move on. And as you can see this nail's perfectly enclosed there. It's not hassling anything else, so you can just leave it there and do that one as your last one. Right. So one of the things I do is I grab my silks, and my silks that I've got come in a strip like this. Okay, so you do need to measure up which one's going to be best for you. Okay, and that one's going to be best for me. I mean, some people keep them together. I find it easier to cut them up. Now don't throw away any of your silk pieces. Hold on to them, because the reality is that you may need to do a repair at one stage, and that little bit of silk that you've got left there, you might be able to use that rather than breaking into a new one. So you don't have to be exact with this. Okay. Now, these silks do not stick on. They're just really clinging onto the paper. They will stretch and move, so don't handle them too much. And they don't have to be a perfect fit either. Now, I've done this often enough that I know how much I need to have around about. Now that you've got your silks cut, okay, that's for my back fold, and that's for my complete new nail. Now, in saying that, with my back fold, I'm only going to do one silk. You can do two, if you like, but I find one silk with the nail hardener more than enough, otherwise it starts getting a bit too thick. However, because I'm replacing this one from the start again, I'm actually going to go and cut another piece, because I want two silks on that one, just to give it that extra strength. I'm now going to use my resin, my brush on resin. You can get brush on resins, you can get tube resins. I just find the brush on one just a little bit easier. Totally up to you what you want to use. Right, you just put it on. Sorry if I'm not quite in the picture there. I'm trying to do this while my family's out grocery shopping so that I can have some peace and quiet. And if you're mum, you know what I mean. If you're not, enjoy your peace and quiet that you're getting now. Okay, so just pull the silk off the backing, like that. Now this is where it comes a little bit tricky, is you want to get that sticking onto the resin. And it can be a little bit tricky. See what I mean? You don't have to be absolutely perfect. See, it's a little bit long, doesn't quite cover everything. However, that's not an issue, because you want to cover it back up again with the resin. And you want to make sure that you get everything covered with the resin. Now see how I've got that bit sticking out the end? You can actually use that to make your nail extra long. I like keeping mine short. I work in an office, so it makes it easier to use a keyboard. Now, this is where I use the filler powder. Now this is a little bit of a knack too, but it's nothing major. Just grab it and just sprinkle it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. I give it a bit of a blow to try and spread it round. What you do is you do need to leave that to dry for a bit. So while I'm waiting for that one to dry, we'll do this backfill and show you how easy it is to do a backfill with silks. One of the things I didn't like about acrylics is you know, it took a long time to learn how to do a backfill, and the reality was that if you didn't do it well, you could see it, and you always have to keep acrylics painted because they do look false. The other thing is too, they can get quite thick, and that's the other thing I didn't like about acrylics. Gels don't quite work on my nails very well. They don't work for everybody. I do like the nail polishes, but to do my nails I do like to use the acrylics. I like to use the gels because they seem to suit me better, and I find them extremely easy to do. You know, if you're going to do anything, why make it hard? This is incredibly easy. I think if you can put nail polish on, you can do silk nails, really. It just takes a little bit of patience, and the only real patience is putting the silk on. You know, and once you've done it 2 or 3 times, it really isn't a major deal. You don't have to put it right close as well. You can actually leave a little bit of a gap, which I'm doing on this one. Again, best thing about silk nails is you don't have to be perfect. Okay, give it a good push down so that it's got no bubbles and it's adhering to the nail properly. Now, next time I do it, you know, we'll probably get this bit, but remembering that you've probably got, by the time you get to doing a backfill, this will probably be your 3rd bit of silk. So it doesn't matter that you don't cover absolutely everything. Again, completely cover your silk again with resin. This is probably the most important thing, making sure you get that silk absolutely sealed onto your nail, because if you don't, that's where it's going to start lifting. Again, I'm going to put hardener on there and filler powder, just from the point of view that my nails are quite weak. I'm probably not the best person with looking after my nails. I wash dishes and garden and all that sort of stuff with them, so I'm not the best person at looking after them. Now when you put that filler powder on, the first time you put it on, if you get a little bit of heat, don't worry about it. You only need a slight bit, so you know, you don't have to chuck heaps of it on, just a little sprinkle is enough. Right, while that one's drying, this one is now dry. Completely dry, so we can now put the 2nd silk on that one. Right, a final coat of resin over top of that. And final coat over our backfold. Now, as I said, you don't have to use the filler powder. I use it because I like to have that strength in my nails. Now, it's basically a game of sit and wait for the resin to actually harden.